Hello. Today is June 12th, 2024, and as of yet, right now, there still is not a deal between the British Conservative Party and Reform UK on an electoral pact or even tactical voting. Candidates have until June 18th and an additional 6 days to withdraw from the race if they do not want to be nominated. I do believe that is the case. This is a crucial moment. The Conservative Party has put out its manifesto, its platform for the next, what they would do if they do win the election, which is increasingly looking unlikely. Tomorrow Labour does produce theirs. Now we'll give perhaps we'll give an update on the Conservative platform and the Labour platform later on in another video. The Conservatives are attempting to try to win over those Reform voters with their platform. One thing they need to do, I think, is to crack down immigration. Adopt the Reform platform of zero immigration. People will say, well, they've had 14 years to do it. Yeah. But there's also been a lot of infighting in some of the last few years. Look at the 2017-2019 Parliament. Nobody could get anything done. It was truly hung. And then you had the Fixed Term Parliaments Act that prevented an early election from being triggered. The opposition didn't want to. Jeremy Corbyn did not want to. It was the opposition leader did not want to trigger no confidence vote because they wanted to keep a no deal Brexit off the table. So the opposition wouldn't trigger no confidence vote in the government, and things were at an impasse. And then when Boris Johnson became Prime Minister in 2018, succeeding Theresa May, he couldn't get the problem resolved because of that whole situation. So they had to introduce legislation, and that's why they got rid of the Fixed Term Parliaments Act in this current Parliament. The 2024 election will be the first election in British history with voter ID laws in place. It's already in place in Northern Ireland. It's now for the rest of the country. And this could be the only election with it. And here's why. I fully anticipate, and I could be wrong, I hope I'm wrong on this one, but here's the situation. Right-wing parties did quite well in the European elections this last week. Europe as a whole, with the exception of the United Kingdom, is moving to the right, for the most part. But why is the UK different? We've had 14 years of Conservative government, in part. But also because people are being brainwashed by the news media. The corporate media, as a whole, is covering either for the Labour Party or Reform UK. You got a lot of so-called conservative press that's actually gone over to Reform UK now, and that's a scary situation. So they're covering for either party. Now, Nigel Farage, I will admit, does have some ideas on how to tackle immigration and tax cuts and everything else. The situation is, though, that with the financial situation, it is more important for the government to get its financial house in order. And it's obviously that the British state is too centralized. It needs reform. But do British voters want a Labour supermajority? But what I mean is 390 seats or more consists of a supermajority in the House of Commons. A narrower lead keeps the Conservatives, now contrary to what the press will say, did not have a supermajority in the last Parliament. Even with the boundary changes, they didn't even come. They weren't even there. They were like 18 seats or so off from a supermajority last time around. Margaret Thatcher, yes, did have super majorities, but she used her majorities for good. For the most part, I think she did. Tony Blair used his two back-to-back super majorities for evil. The last Labour government with a supermajority used its supermajorities for bad. It was not good. So why would voters trust Labour with a supermajority again, knowing how they messed things up last time with the supermajority? And why would voters risk splitting the right to give Labour that supermajority? It's not worth the risk. It is not worth the cost. It is not worth the risk to give Labour a supermajority. My preference is to see a hung parliament on July 4th, or a conservative majority. But if we can't have a conservative majority, let's have a hung parliament. A hung parliament is far better, far superior than Labour's supermajority. Even a weakened Labour majority with a majority of 4 seats is better than the supermajority, right? The less damage they could do, the better off they are. So here are the things they're going to do when they get into power, if they get into power, I should say. Number 1, and voters in Minnesota should realize this: a Labour government will ban conversion therapy. What that basically is they're basically trying to, it would be illegal to talk people who are in a homosexual lifestyle out of, who want to get out of that lifestyle, by the way, could not be counseled, could not receive counseling how to get out of that lifestyle. Tim Walz, the Democrats passed in Minnesota. Keir Starmer and the Labour Party will pass in the UK. That'll be a foregone conclusion. They will pass that. Pastors who attempt to counsel these people out of the lifestyle, these homosexuals out of this lifestyle, will be jailed. Indeed, pastors who speak up against the woke agenda, the transgender, the LGBTQ plus alpha agenda, will be jailed under Labour. That is absolutely the case. Doctors who refuse to perform gender reassignment surgery on minors, whether they are in the National Health Service or not, will be jailed, and they will lose their license under a Labour supermajority government. Right? Parents who refuse parental rights is gone. Will be gone under Labour. That is absolute going to happen if they get the large majority. What did Tim Walz do? What Tim Walz did, and you're going to see what Labour's going to do. It's going to be 10 times worse. What Labour will do. Absolutely. So that's what they'll do. Parental rights, again, parents who refuse to allow their child or children to have gender reassignment surgery will lose their parental rights. Gone. School teachers who refuse to promote this woke LGBTQ just demonic agenda will be fired. Whether they're private school or state-funded schools, they will be fired. Civil servants who refuse to conform to this agenda will be fired. There'll be a purge of civil service right, but it's going to be for the worse. It's going to be for the worst. So what at stake is very obvious. If Labour get with a supermajority, a two-tier justice system, you will see that imposed. One rule for the pro-Labour politicians and news media outlets, those who cover for them, and one rule for everybody else. Labour will go after the political opponents because they intend to create a one-party state. They don't have no intention of giving up power. The voter ID law legislation that was passed will be likely to be repealed under Labour at some point in the next 5 years because they intend to stay in power. They do. So, that's what's at stake. It really is what is at stake here. Voters have a choice. And by the way, for those in the United States, guess what? If the left wins that big on July 4th in the UK, they are going to be energized. They're going to be energized, and they're coming after us next in the United States here. They want these demonic, demon-possessed leftists want control of both the United States and the United Kingdom. And they may get their goal, and they're not going to stop with the UK, take over the UK on July 4th. No, they're coming after us next. Complete control here. That is obvious. So, voters have a choice. Again, voters have a choice. We have a choice here too on November 5th. And I'm going to say this, to be totally honest. That fight is going to be a lot harder after July 5th if Labour win a supermajority. Especially in a situation where the right that has less than 50 seats or less. Some people got the Conservatives at 35 seats, potentially even 31 seats. That is bad. That means you have no proper opposition. The Liberal Democrats, they form official opposition, will not be a proper opposition in the House of Commons. Period. Right? Reform, if they're lucky, they'll have one seat. So Nigel Farage is lying to his own voters when he says, "Oh, we're going to be the official opposition." No, they're not going to be. They're not going to be. They'll only have, his goal is to reform to be the biggest party by 2029. Nigel, there'll be no opposition parties in 2029. The Labour are going to do everything they can to shut down any opposition to them. Period. And there will be a constitutional crisis in the UK within the next few years. Probably the next 2 years. Why? Well, because the Conservatives will still be the biggest party in the House of Lords. With 275 seats in the House of Lords. The Conservative Party must abandon the so-called, what they call the Salisbury Convention, which was been in place since 1945, in which the upper chamber basically would enact the winning party's platform, no matter which party won, Conservative, Labour. They would have a easy ride again there than the past. The Conservatives must abandon that convention. Period. Labour's going to try to get rid of their peers, to give them more seats in the House of Lords, to create that balance. That will result probably in could result in 100 less, 50 to 100 less Conservative peers in the House of Lords. In other words, they have more of a pro-Labour House of Lords. So the House of Lords must block that at all costs. And the right needs to unite. Now, I also have a message for Nigel Farage. Do a deal. You can help prevent this deal. Rishi Sunak, do a deal, right? If you don't want to do a deal, then at least urge your voters to vote technically for the other party that has the best chance of being Labour in those districts. That is clear. If the Conservative candidate has the best chance of being Labour, vote Conservative. If it's reform, vote reform. If the parties don't do an electoral pact by June 19th. That's clear, right? Do to the left what they do to us. Do to us, right? That's clear. Technical voting or electoral pact will prevent a runaway Labour government, a leftist dominant House of Commons. It's going to, right? To have a proper opposition to the left, a right-wing party needs to be in second place if the right loses the election on July 4th in the UK. If they do. So, again, Nigel Farage, tell your voters the truth. Your party's going nowhere. Right Reform is a corporation, and Nigel Farage controls 53% of the stock in said corporation. He does. He totally does. So, that's the truth. Nigel controls 3% of the stock in Reform UK, of the shares. They have no democratic institutions for electing a party leader. The leadership is the shareholders determine that. And that's the truth of the matter. So, again, those that are openly endorsing Nigel Farage need to put the pressure on him and Rishi Sunak to do a deal. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to it. Now, what about those MAGA individuals like Steve Bannon and Sebastian Gorka in the United States? Well, guess what? They need to do the same thing. They have not done so yet, to my knowledge, and they need to do it. And you know what? Steve Bannon and Sebastian Gorka, you two have, here's my message to you. Okay? First of all, you have rarely against a two-tier justice system, for months, for the last few years. Okay? I will take no lectures from Steve Bannon, from you, Steve Bannon, or from you, especially Mr. Gorka, about a two-tier justice system when you potentially helped to contribute to that in the UK. If Labour wins a majority, you will have helped to contribute to that. And to those that back Mr. Bannon, Mr. Gorka, who complain about two-tier justice system in the United States, I will take no lectures from you either. I want to hear you complain, say a word about it for the next 5 years, because you helped contribute to that as well by not putting the pressure on Mr. Bannon, Mr. Gorka, to put pressure on Mr. Farage to do a deal with the Conservative Party. Again, Steve Bannon, Mr. Gorka, I will take no lectures from you or your supporters about the two-tier system in the United States, because you will have potentially helped to contribute to that in the UK. You would have helped to contribute to that in the UK by helping to split the right-wing vote, by contributing to the split of the right-wing vote in the UK. So, send me the lectures, send me the crocodile tears. I will take none of it from you guys. Right? You have a choice. You may, and by continuing to refuse to push for a deal, you are helping contribute to that. Don't lecture me about Steve Bannon and Mr. Gorka. Do not lecture me on your supporters. Do not lecture me about state at all, because you're helping contribute to that in the UK by not pushing for a deal between Reform and the Conservatives, but not using your platforms to do so. You have made your choice, and I will continue, and I will urge people. July 5th happens, and Labour wins the supermajority. Do not listen to Steve Bannon and Sebastian Gorka unless they publicly repent and apologize to over 65 million people for subjecting them to a socialist tyranny. Now, here's what Labour's going to do, okay? The hard left that Trump does not control, will not be able to control, won't be control. So, they're going to try to get rid of the House of Lords, and they're going to try to get rid of the monarchy. So voters in Britain, in the UK, treat July 4th as a referendum on the constitutional monarchy and your parliamentary system of government, because both are at stake now. Right? Both are at stake. Both the parliamentary system of government and the constitutional monarchy are on the line now. If you want to preserve your system of government, you must vote anything but Labour or even Liberal Democrats, as far as I'm concerned. Right? Vote for the party that is the most, which is in my opinion the Conservative Party, which is the most likely to prevent this scenario from happening in place. A vote for reform, in my opinion at this point in time, is a vote for Labour. So, yeah. You can determine whether or not you keep your freedom, your liberties. Parental rights are on the line. School choices on the line. They're going after private schools. They're going after private schools. They have made that abundantly clear now. They're going to raise tuition, VAT on private schools. They're going after private schools. Homeschooling, again, homeschooling banned in a socialist, in a Marxist controlled UK. All that is going to be banned. Like I said, pastors who refuse to conform to the agenda, who speak out against it, will be jailed. And in fact, Labour will set up re-education camps for these doctors and these pastors and teachers that they jail for not conforming to the agenda, I should say. So again, anybody who speaks out, they'll face 10 years maximum prison and re-education before they can be released. They will have to sign an oath to the new Marxist socialist state. It's going to be, Nigel Farage says, okay, it can get worse. Only it's going to get worse, alright? It's going to get bad. The best thing people can do now is to wake up before it's too late. Voters of Britain need to wake up. Again, Conservative Party, are they perfect? No. But they're the only right-wing party that can realistically oppose Labour. They're going to be in a position to oppose Labour. That's all there's to it. So, again, July 4th, vote Conservative. Do not vote Labour. Reform is a vote, is a vote for Labour. And again, like I said, pastors who refuse to, who speak out, who oppose this leftist agenda, when it comes to this, who even try to counsel people out of this demonic LGBT alphabet lifestyle will be jailed. Doctors who refuse to perform gender reassignment surgery on minors will be jailed, and they will be sent to pastors and doctors who refuse to conform, who speak out against this agenda will be jailed. Doctors will be sent to re-education camps. Doctors who refuse to perform gender reassignment surgery will be sent to re-education camps. Teachers who refuse to promote this in a sex ed curriculum in the schools will not only be jailed, but will be sent to education camps as well. That's what they're going to do. It's going to be bad. But again, vote for the Conservatives on July 4th to prevent that from happening. The right-wing vote needs to unite. And by individuals in the United States helping to contribute to that divide, it's going to become much harder to unite the right after July 4th. Nigel Farage and Rishi Sunak must step down as the leaders of Reform UK and the Conservative Party on July 5th, so that the right can unite and beat Labour and hopefully beat Labour. Hopefully bring down this demonic Labour government within 2 years or less. That needs to be the goal, is to bring it down within 2 years. Donald Trump, you need to help with that effort as well. I think you need to send Sebastian Gorka and Nancy Bannon over there to apologize to the people of the UK for helping to contribute to this nightmare scenario and to help mediate talks with the Tories and Reform. Anyway, that's all I have to say for tonight. God bless.